here in Denver, Colorado. It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Good left hand from Rockhold. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center, here in Salt Lake City, Utah, folks. What a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Perry on the top. Right hand from Mike Perry. Double check. Who's the king of violence? I am.
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds remaining.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the...
Welcome to hour number 3, live right here on the early line on SportsGrid and all across the SportsGrid network. He is Donnie right side. I am Ben Stevens. Our third and final hour of this Tuesday show here on TEL. Plenty of baseball comes your way. We've got some opening night NBA matchups to take an early look at as the schedule is starting to be released piece by piece for 2024-25. And then the final half hour, Donnie Rightside goes all around the MLB card on this Tuesday for some baseball breakdowns and best bets. One more hour to go here on this Tuesday, live on the early line.
In about a half hour's time, the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots having a joint practice today. Some excitement in the air, but also, Ben, you just talked about NBA opening night. Say with me now, opening day in the NBA. Come on now. 1 o'clock game, 3 o'clock game, 5 o'clock game, opening day in the NBA. Monumental. Make me commissioner, Ben. We will all benefit from it. I'm telling you right now.
Now, Donnie, I oftentimes try to throw a little water on your steam when it comes to some of the scheduling things that you like personally for your schedule that might not have the best impact on others. But DRS might be onto something. He has often been an advocate of afternoon viewing windows, a guy that goes to sleep most nights by 8 p.m. anyway, but there has been some proven pedigree based on it, as we saw represented in basketball in the last few months. Most recently, 19.5 million viewers for the gold medal game in the men's basketball tournament at the Olympics on Saturday afternoon between Team USA and France, the most watched gold medal match at the Olympics since 1996. And there is a thought, Donnie, with some feasibility to those afternoon hours of garnering in everybody that has the day off. It's the weekend. You're not wrapping up the weekend, getting back into your nightly routine to get ready for a new week. It's in the afternoon. Of course, we saw nearly that many, I think close to 19 million, 18.9, if I'm not mistaken, for the women's NCAA Tournament National Championship game between Iowa and South Carolina. Also in those middle afternoon hours around 3 p.m. Eastern time, the tip.
Exactly. And also, it doesn't work around the entire landscape. It's based around the biggest events, which means postseason. And quite frankly, it doesn't make sense probably to have a Wednesday afternoon, 1 o'clock playoff game, right? Well, we'll see that in baseball sometimes when you have the, wild card rounds and such. But if you have, trust me on this, Saturday and Sunday, play the biggest game of the day in the middle of the day. Now, the NFL does play Sunday Night Football, but, reading some of those articles, the 425 spot actually gets higher ratings. Like, imagine this, Ben, and hear me out on this one. Just in college football, or let's say college basketball, I understand technically you really can't do it, but if you move the Final Four, let's just say to a Friday, which you played one game at 5 o'clock, one game at 7:30 or 8 o'clock, it would be fine. Can you imagine, though, Sunday at 3 p.m., the men's basketball national championship game on a Sunday and not 9:20 or 9 o'clock on a Monday night, the amount of ratings you would actually do in that environment, it just works out well. Same thing there with like an NFL playoff game. Put that at 3 o'clock or 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock on a Sunday. The numbers are unbelievable. It's crazy that we've waited so long to say, oh my goodness, look at how many people can watch a game at 3 p.m. on a Saturday or Sunday as opposed to 8 p.m. It never made any sense why those games are in prime time. These games should not start any later than the 6 o'clock hour on Saturday or Sunday. The ratings are through the roof, and it's a proven fact.
Completely agree, DRS. We'll get to those NBA scheduling news that you need to know a little bit later on in this third hour. But now we want to hear from the people out there. And the focus, sadly, for the New York Jets this offseason has been off-the-field issues and who is at practice and who is absent from mandatory minicamp or now training camp and what it means for the roster for Gang Green. First, it was Aaron Rodgers during mandatory minicamp in June. All right, but that's mandatory minicamp. Now it's Hassan Reddick holding out from training camp from New York and demanding a trade that has led to the Jets issuing a quote graphic reply publicly on Twitter and social media. So what to make of the Jets this year with all the offseason drama and a team that has the longest active postseason drought in the National Football League? Will this be the year that the on-the-field performance outweighs anything off the field? That was the question in Fade the Public. Donnie, it's a rather simple question with relatively simple replies that has much more nuance to it. Will the New York Jets make the playoffs this season? Yes or no at SportsGrid on Twitter. 59% of the public, the majority, saying no. The New York Jets will miss the NFL postseason for a 14th straight season. Based on that trend and the longest active postseason drought in the four major men's professional sport leagues in North America, that includes the NBA, MLB, and the NHL, the New York Jets are going to miss the playoffs according to the public and the trends, but not the odds makers who have the Jets favored to see the postseason. What did you vote in this poll, Donnie?
Look, here's the issue that we're running into. A lot of votes coming in here, and it looks like the no is going to win the rest of the day, which means most people don't think that the Jets are going to make the playoffs. I am hater number one on this planet at just about everything that I see. I would love to sit back and absolutely hate on the New York Jets. It's a fun thing to do. Aaron Rodgers is a polarizing individual, and sometimes we'll look at those polarizing individuals and wish for their downfall. Not injury-wise, but just for them to suffer on the field. Like, told you so, it wasn't going to work out, should have stayed in Green Bay, should have retired, should have went to Jeopardy, right? But I'm not that way. Let's think honestly through this here. If you told me last year Aaron Rodgers would play the season and just be completely average, the Jets would be in the playoffs. Their quarterback play was so far underwhelming and still had, it's not a legitimate chance because the quarterback play was bad and all you needed was an average quarterback, but you actually upgraded your team. Now, we just talked about Hassan Reddick. It would be awesome if he came to town. Let's just say Hassan Reddick never shows up for the Jets. That's still an NFL elite defense. Look at the offense. You add Mike Williams, a big play wideout on one side, and Wilson on the other side, a young, promising, talented wide receiver. Hall in the backfield, one of the young, dynamic weapons that you can have, and you increased the money on the offensive line through draft picks and bringing players in. So if you tell me right now, if I just get, let's just 30 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, but 32, let's say, right? 32 starting NFL quarterbacks. And Aaron Rodgers comes in at 17. They're in the playoffs, people. You can say, well, Donnie, I don't know if he's going to stay healthy. We can play that with every single quarterback in the NFL and every team. Outside of catastrophic injuries, the Jets are going to be in the playoffs. Stop hating on the Jets. I want to hate on the Jets, but I got to be real, Ben. I can't hate on it. They're going to be in the playoffs.
The New York Jets, last year with Zach Wilson, who was a shell of himself, or Tim Boyle, or whoever was out there at the quarterback spot, still won 7 games because of how talented every other position is outside of the quarterback room. Now, we'll get to the quarterback in just a moment. The offensive line could use some work. Olu Fashanu, drafted in the top 15 this year out of Penn State. But everything else on offense, really good. The defense, sensational. And that's where Robert Saleh's focus is for Gang Green. It's all about the quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers, at the age of 40, coming off a season-ending Achilles injury, is going to be better than anything they had last year at quarterback. Is he going to be the 2-time MVP winner in 2020 and 2021? Or will he look like how he did his worst career season in 2022? If he is mediocre, to Donnie's point, there is no reason this Jets team should not make the postseason. But it is very difficult, Donnie, to feel an overwhelming sense of optimism and focus only on the football with how this offseason has gone for New York, when it has only been drama. The Jets win total 9.5. The over has the juice, expected to be a double-digit win team. Buffalo's lead in the AFC East is dwindling, and it's a minus 172 price to make the postseason. The Daily Basis up next. You're on the early line.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
A full Tuesday slate around Major League Baseball to break down for you after a great Monday night in MLB. We do that here as we touch them all with our MLB insider and the host of Newswire starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That is Craig Mish. Craig, as always, we appreciate the time. Thank you for being here on this Tuesday on the early line.
Yep, thanks for having me. Great pitching matchup in particular last night with Sale and Snell ready to get to it. Let's get it going.
Listen, if you're a fan of the sport on the bump, last night in San Francisco was sensational for you. It leads off as we will try to get to first and then all around in the daily basis. All right, Craig, you mentioned it last night in San Francisco. The reigning National League Cy Young winner, San Francisco's Blake Snell, who won the hardware last year in San Diego, and the NL Cy Young frontrunner this year, Atlanta's Chris Sale, facing off in a game where both were scoreless and nearly unhittable. And both struck out at least 11 guys on the other side. It was scoreless in regulation. In extras, Travis d'Arnaud and RBI sac fly wins it for the Braves, a game they desperately needed to add to the win column. But, Craig, as you're watching this last night, Chris Sale for Atlanta, Blake Snell on the other side for San Francisco, what was going through your mind watching this pitching duel?
Yeah, I was on last night with Joe Ranieri. We were talking about this and going over maybe this is the best pitching matchup of the season to this point. Look, Sale has been fantastic from start to finish. There's a reason why Blake Snell is not in that Cy Young conversation. He got off to that slow start. He signed very late in spring training. I think that definitely hurt the beginning of the season. But even going back to last year, Ben, and going back to Blake Snell with Tampa in the postseason, I think that you can make the case that in a short sample, if you just needed one pitcher who is at his best for 5 or 6 innings in all of baseball, you may take Blake Snell. I mean, he is that, when he is on, he is that good. He may be the very best pitcher in baseball. Last year, he was able to put it together for an entire season to win the Cy Young. This year, it's been about a month and a half, 2 months. That was my takeaway from last night. Right now, when you're facing Blake Snell, if you're betting against Blake Snell, just get out of the way. The guy is untouchable right now. This is not going to be the entire rest of the season, I don't believe. But to me, he is the most dominant pitcher when he's right over anybody else in the game.
And also getting the benefit of the doubt, pitching in a great pitcher's ballpark. That was unbelievable stuff. 1-0 victory yesterday. But I want to talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers here with you, Craig Mish, because correct me if you heard this before. A dominant performance out of Clayton Kershaw. Ohtani home run, Betts home run. Betts, welcome back to Major League Baseball. Absolutely fantastic. 2 home runs combined, 5 RBI combined, 3 hits here, a Dodgers victory. What can we expect from Ohtani at number 1 and Betts number 2 in that lineup the rest of the way? Because if last night's an indicator, it's going to be something.
How about Freddie Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez? I mean, this team is just loaded from start to finish. And this is why, Donnie, is that there are 2 months in the season usually that I look at, July and August, where I usually do not worry about performances, especially from teams and even your Phillies. I understand they went through it for about a month or 2. But look, talk to me at the end of the season. You're playing 162 for a reason. If you're winning 91 games versus 98 games because you only won 5 out of 15. Does it really matter at the end of the season? I understand we're all prisoners of the moment and we freak out. There's no reason to freak out about the Dodgers. Is there a reason to freak out about the Dodgers, guys, if they get swept in the first round of the playoffs? Of course there is. But for right now, it's August baseball, guys. Let's get real. Dodgers will be there in the end. Diamondbacks are getting hot. There's a chance certainly they catch them, surpass them. I think all those things are possible. Remember, it is a tournament in baseball now in October. It is not the postseason like we used to know it.
The Dodgers have to hold on if they want to claim their 11th NL West crown in the last 12 years because San Diego and Arizona cannot lose. LA has won 7 of its last 8 games. Perhaps the largest upset this year in Major League Baseball. The Yankees were greater than a $3.50 favorite last night on the road in the south side of Chicago against the muddling White Sox, who won by double digits. 12-2. Congrats to Grady Sizemore picking up his first win as the White Sox interim manager. And Sizemore had this to say before the start of the series last night against the Yanks. Quote, "We're going to be extremely careful. That guy does a lot of damage on Aaron Judge, who will be getting a ton of free passes and intentional walks from the White Sox this week." It worked last night, Craig. Do you think more teams around MLB, as we have seen over the last month or so, will continue to give some free passes to Aaron Judge?
Yeah, easier to do now than it will be in the postseason. So, right now, look, the White Sox and the Yankees will play some other teams, Toronto, I'm sure, that are out of it and really have nothing to lose except for being embarrassed by him. So I think there's certainly a chance of that happening. I mean, the other thing that we have to watch today, and again, I'm saying this tongue-in-cheek, Jazz, so I hope he doesn't get mad at me, but every time Jazz Chisholm has said in Miami that he'll be fine and play the next day, he's been out for the season the next day. So Jazz last night said, I'm good, I'll be ready to go, whatever, the next day. Hey, buddy, I've heard this before, and then the next day you're out for the year. I'm not rooting for that, obviously. I'm just saying, right. I know fans last night, Jazz said he's okay. Folks, it don't mean anything. I've been with this guy for years. I hope he's okay. I want to see him play well for the Yankees. But, guys, that is a hold your breath announcement coming later today. Hopefully for Jazz, he's only out a couple of days because he has been an absolute monster for the Yankees. They cannot afford to not have him in the lineup.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy there for the Yanks. A major favorite last night, still a heavy favorite tonight, almost a $3 price as well. We'll see how that turns out for the Yanks. But tonight, Houston and Tampa Bay going to take place down at the Trop. Kikuchi versus Boz. If you look at the line in this game, 8's at the FanDuel Sportsbook, now down to 7.5 is the total. And a favorite here still for Houston at a minus 136 price. What are we looking at tonight, Craig, from these two?
Over on Kikuchi strikeout props. This guy has been fantastic. I mean, what has gotten into this guy with all of these strikeouts here? Like another player that's gone to another location that has just put on a new jersey. He's in a pennant race. Josh Bell is doing the same thing in Arizona right now. I don't know who's going to win the game, guys, at this stage of the season, but I like the way Kikuchi is pitching, and I think that I would probably ride that train right now.
The Astros have won 6 straight. They've won both of Kikuchi's starts as a member of this Astros starting staff. He's had 19 strikeouts in those 2 starts since being acquired ahead of the deadline. Craig Mish, we appreciate the time. See you on Newswire in just a little bit. More on the early line next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
NBA calendar dates to know as we get ready for a new year in 2024-25. We have watched a lot of basketball in the last 2 weeks over in Paris. The United States men's basketball team winning a 5th consecutive gold medal. We're feeling good about the hoops as we get ready for a new NBA season, but not really until October. We got the Christmas Day slate last week. Now we get opening night around the association from our guy at FanDuel TV, Shams Charania. Opening night of the 2024-25 NBA season on TNT. For the last time in this current media rights deal, the last season of NBA basketball, at least at this juncture on TNT, it is October 22nd, 2024. The opener on ring night inside TD Garden. The Celtics will host the New York Knicks. The Lakers will take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards, the young emerging star, against his Team USA teammates, LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That is opening night in the NBA to tip off the 2024-25 NBA campaign.
Yeah, the opening night's always fun in every sport, and the same thing probably goes down the NBA. We'll all enjoy that first game, watch it, and say, you know what? It's fantastic the NBA's back, and then we'll go to sleep during the second game because it'll probably be on at 10:30 at night. Ridiculous actual planning by the NBA. But it is what it is. Knicks, Celtics will be great. I'll just wake up just like 90% of the country to find out who won that late game and look at the box score.
I would agree with you there. There is always a ton of excitement for the start of an NBA season. Then it dwindles a little bit. We have the NBA Cup. Once again, we'll have the handicaps ready for you. Year number 2 of the in-season tournament. The Celtics, by the way, the odds are out. A 5.5-point favorite against the Knickerbockers. The over-under 221.5 in Beantown on opening night. Will Jaylen Brown be playing with a fury this season after being left off the United States Olympic team, and he watched his 3 other C's teammates, Jason Tatum barely, play for Team USA, Drew Holiday and Derek White, some significant contributors for the United States. The Lakers, a small underdog at home against Minnesota. Of course, the Timberwolves made it to the Western Conference Finals a season ago. Is it a new era out west where teams like the Lakers, the Clippers, the Suns pave way to the younger teams on the rise? OKC, Minnesota, Dallas, and of course, the Denver Nuggets. Other known NBA scheduled dates: October 23rd, the next night, the opener for both teams in Philadelphia, the 76ers and the Bucks. The Clippers will open up their new stadium, the Intuit Dome, with the wall of fans or whatever they're calling it for the Clips. They will take on the Suns in that opener. Exciting stuff in Los Angeles for sure.
Yeah, I'm telling you, night-to-night basis, and, we'll watch the NBA with a sort of one eye on it and say, you know what, I'm really focused on football during those early parts of October, November, and December. Then once we get into those winter months here in the Northeast, that's where it really starts to capture at this point. But it is exciting to see some of those matchups, and it's some fun ones here. Like the NBA, just like any other league, tries to put compelling matchups on early in the season. Doc Rivers coming back to Philadelphia with the 76ers and Paul George in that lineup. Giannis will be healthy. Those are great games. And the Suns, so talented, taking on the new look Clippers, per se, in their new stadium. That's great stuff here. I don't see anybody that sees this and says, you know what, I'm not excited for the NBA to come back around, because I do think the NBA got a nice little boost over the summer just by taking a look at how the Olympics played out. And it's a perfect launch pad because we are in mid-August. So we're also ready for the NBA, and we're not too far away from the NBA season.
PG in his debut in Philadelphia. That moving the Sixers to the second shortest price to win the East. Boston, of course, a short favorite in both the conference and to win a second consecutive Larry O'Brien trophy. Other big days on the NBA calendar outside of the Christmas slate: the Mavs and the Warriors. Clay will make his return to San Francisco to take on the Dubs. A new era in Golden State for sure. Then the NBA Finals rematches that we have. The Celtics visit Dallas first. The Mavericks make a return trip about a week and a half later in early February to TD Garden. Donnie, make your plea right here for opening night in the NBA, or maybe some of the opening week, at least to feature in some daytime basketball.
Opening day in the NBA. Now, granted, we're still in the midst of football season, but what happens if the NBA was like, you know what? Friday afternoon is going to be our opening day. Game at 1 o'clock on the East Coast, that Celtics-Knicks game. Game at 4 o'clock on the West Coast. Unbelievable banner ratings out here. If you don't like money, that's okay. NBA players, I know you make a lot of it. Max contracts, $300+ million. I can bump it to $400 million within a matter of 2 to 3 seasons by selling ads, because ads will be running to the television saying, like, we got to get involved in this new Donnie Rightside scenario. Day basketball. Cash money, baby.
Handle ads on SportsGrid first. More after the break.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFC selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
We've got a full Tuesday slate in Major League Baseball. Cooper DeJean making his debut in pads for the Philadelphia Eagles at training camp. What more could you want on this Tuesday? We'll preview some of those MLB games around the slate in the bigs with some baseball breakdowns from the mind of Donnie Rightside, who I know wants to break out in tune so badly right now.
Yeah, I do. I really do, because it's that time of the year. We get to see our idols out there on the football field start to take shape here, and away we go into the NFL season. Can't wait for it to get underway. We're just about there.
Never forget, in the greater Philadelphia or South Jersey area, Donnie Rightside walked so that guys like Cooper DeJean and Will Shipley could run.
Yeah.
Never forget.
McConkey's not in the NFL.
When you look,
Cooper Kupp, not in the NFL. Like, they're a guy. I paved the way for this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I should be on the Mount Rushmore of white wide receivers that paved the way so many of these players can actually make a living at this point. Let's remember that.
That guy, high football IQ, a gym rat, first one in, last one to leave, sneaky athletic. Donnie Rightside, before all of that, had it all. Don't forget to look beyond the face mask this year in the National Football League. All right, let's. McConkey wouldn't be in the NFL. All right, let's preview.
Watch it. Them visors will get you in the NFL and in college football. I'm telling you, BWS. Remind yourself. Watch out for those visor players, man. Surprises all the way around. You never know what you're going to find out.
I can't handle it, man. It's my favorite bit we have. Oh, God.
Get the text, man.
I can't wait.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's get to the text. All right, here we go. Let's preview some baseball games around this full Tuesday slate in MLB. Mookie Betts makes his return yesterday in Milwaukee, ups his batting average, hits a 2-run home run in his second at-bat, and adds in 3 RBIs in total as the Dodgers take game number 1 against the Brew Crew in Milwaukee 5-2. An ever so slight favorite here in game number 2 against the Brewers. It's Gavin Stone for Los Angeles. It's Colin Ray on the other side for Milwaukee.
Yeah, you take a look at these pitchers, and actually the better pitcher is not for the Dodgers, but the Dodgers, as we know, will always get the benefit of the doubt, specifically in the betting markets. Why? Because people line up and say, wait a second, as long as I'm not paying $2, let me just take the Dodgers because of how much talent they have. And you saw yesterday, Ohtani and Betts going yard. That's certainly going to have an influence. But take a look at Colin Ray. Last 60 days in Major League Baseball, 94 xFIP minus, an ERA of under 3.5, solid xFIP numbers, solid Sierra numbers. But also, let's just take a look at some of those non-analytical numbers, if you will. The last 90 batters that he's faced. How about a K rate? 33%. Fantastic. How about an ISO power number? 107. How about a weighted on base percentage? 254. So certainly holding his end up with a bargain here for the Milwaukee Brewers. I understand. It's a very good lineup today, specifically with Betts back. He's expected to be in that lineup today. But if we look at Gavin Stone, an average pitcher, but his last 91 at-bats in Major League Baseball over the past 30 days, who he's faced, a 299 ISO, really elevated. A weighted on base percentage of 427. Look at the middle of that lineup. That's Churio, Mitchell, Contreras, and Adames. 276, 216, 271, and 476 ISO power numbers. You take a look at Rhys Hoskins, his last 52 at-bats against right-handed pitching. How about a 370 ISO? I think we take a look at today that maybe you go the Dogs in a bounce-back effort for the Brewers at home.
DRS, Mookie Betts might be back with the Dodgers, but he's not staying with the Dodgers in Milwaukee. Did you see this story? The Dodgers are staying at Pfister Hotel, constructed in the late 1890s, the late 19th century in Milwaukee. It's reportedly haunted. Mookie Betts does not mess around with ghosts. He's got his own Airbnb that he's staying at in Milwaukee while the Dodgers are on this road trip. Use that in your handicap as you see fit. Again, the Dodgers have won 7 of their last 9 games. Milwaukee had a 5-game win streak entering their final game against Cincinnati this weekend. They have now dropped 2 straight. In the National League West, or in the National League wildcard race, you just have to keep winning games to keep pace with San Diego and Arizona. That's the story for both San Francisco and Atlanta tonight. The Braves and the Giants once again by the Bay. What a pitching performance and a duel we got last night. Chris Sale and Blake Snell. Into extra innings, scoreless. The Braves win it in 10. 1-0. Atlanta had lost 7 of its last 8 entering the opener in San Francisco. A virtual pick'em today in game number 2. Who gets the dub?
It's really another coin flip as you take a look at it. If we're lining up pitchers today, again, last 60 days, minimum 20 innings pitched on some of those analytical numbers. There's 24 pitchers on the card. How about this? Kyle Harrison, 8th, Charlie Morton, 9th. So stacked right against each other. We know this is a true pitcher's ballpark as well. But having said that, slightly above average xFIP minus numbers for both of these. But these lineups leave a lot to be desired. We saw the total under yesterday. I mean, 1-0 in 10 innings here. Easily stayed under that 6.5 to 7 numbers that were out there. Now you're going to give me an 8.5 in this. And again, the pitchers yesterday, not nearly as good today on the bump. I understand that. I still think this stays under the total. I don't have a decided advantage on either pitcher or either lineup. I'll just say those lineups, I don't care about the law of averages. Oh, they didn't score yesterday, they scored today. It might happen. I'm still saying I don't think they get the 9 runs today, Ben.
Yeah, 8.5 is that total in San Francisco. The line working even closer. Atlanta right now minus 110 as an ever so slight road money line favorite. San Francisco at minus 106. The Pirates have lost 8 straight games. They're virtually out of the wild card chase at this moment. San Diego, the opposite end of that coin. They have won 10 of their last 12. They're a $2 favorite tonight against Pittsburgh at Petco Park. The over-under is at 8. Do the good times keep rolling in Southern California?
Yeah, Michael King makes his way over from the New York Yankees in that trade for Juan Soto. He has been nothing short of sensation over the past couple months in Major League Baseball. He's third on my card today with an xFIP minus number of 77. An ERA over the past 60 days, 2.91. Great xFIP numbers, great Sierra numbers, and certainly in a pitcher's ballpark, and he is at home. So how many games? Is it 8 in a row that the Pittsburgh Pirates have lost, is what we're saying
Correct.
now?
Yes.
You can make it 9 in a row after today. But if you do want some RBI props to take a look at from a perspective where, Donnie, I don't want to lay 2-to-1 price here on a favorite. I get it. Ortiz isn't a great pitcher. He's a right-handed pitcher. Lefties get the best of him. Jurickson Profar, switch hitter today. He should be in your lineup. Jackson Merrill, the talented center fielder, making great plays in the outfield on top of making some great plays at the plate. And also, you take a look at David Peralta. I think it's an easy victory tonight for San Diego. A couple RBI props in there. And I don't know when this losing streak is going to end for the Pirates. I just don't think it ends tonight.
And San Diego has won 17 of its last 20. One of the bright spots, despite another win yesterday for the Padres, Joe Musgrove was back on the bump in San Diego for the first time since late May. Only 63 pitches, only 4 1/3, but scoreless outing, only allowing 2 hits. Another good sign in many for San Diego at this moment. And if they keep winning, Arizona needs to keep winning, and the Diamondbacks have done that. 5-4 in the opener of their set against Colorado yesterday. Arizona remains at home, and they're also a $2 favorite against the Rockies. Total at 9 in the desert. What do you like in Phoenix?
You take a look at Austin Gomber and you say to yourself, he's got an ERA over the past 60 days close to 6. A lot of that does have to do with him pitching in Colorado because his xFIP minus number is rated on average at a 104. But if you're going to get, let's just say, an average pitcher here against that hot lineup for the Arizona Diamondbacks, how can you not go with the Diamondbacks? I understand they're a heavy favorite, and hey, sometimes you got to take some underdogs, and they do win. I just don't think they're going to be capable of winning tonight. Austin Gomber, left-handed pitcher, really struggling with right-handed batters. So you take a look at that lineup today: Lourdes Gurriel, Josh Bell, who is a switch hitter who will back from the right side today. He should be involved in your lineups. Eugenio Suarez has been very good here for the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks win this one going away. Maybe taking a look at a total to the over in this one as well.
4 straight wins for the D-backs, 8 wins in their last 9 games, 12 wins in their last 14, 16 wins in their last 19. They and San Diego have been so incredibly hot since the All-Star break, it is almost hard to fathom. And so when you look at these games and how they will impact either the National League West race, the Dodgers still in front by 3.5 games, trying to hold on to the divisional crown for the 11th time in the last 12 MLB seasons. But Arizona and San Diego are going to be playoff teams, tied at 67 and 53, 4 games up over Atlanta for the top 2 spots in the NL Wild Card chase. More around MLB on this Tuesday. Up next on the Early Line.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
The Houston Astros have won 6 consecutive games. They will take that win streak today with them for game number 2 of their midweek set in Tampa at the Trop against the Rays. Yusei Kikuchi makes his third start after being acquired by the Astros at the trade deadline. Houston has won each of the first 2 starts that Kikuchi has made. He's got 19 total Ks in those 2 outings, and because of all that and Houston's winning ways as of late, the Astros a road favorite at the Trop. Will it be 7 straight for the Astros today against the Rays?
Yeah, I think they pick up the win. I do. I think they have the better pitcher on the mound, and Yusei Kikuchi going up against Shane Baz, who is a decent pitcher, but I just like the way the lineup sets up today for the Houston Astros. Bregman, Alvarez, Diaz, Pena, and also Caratini all have elevated weighted on base percentages against right-handed pitching over the past 30 days, and they're just a better team. So you take a look at some of these cheaper prices for the Astros playing great baseball. I'll climb on board again. I liked them yesterday to win and yesterday to stay under the total. They did both barely staying under because nobody scored, I think, in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. So that was a lucky one. But today, forget about the total itself. I just think Houston is the better overall team. I'll take the Stros today to pick up the victory over the Tampa Bay Rays.
For the second time in 6 days, it will be Tarek Skubal for Detroit against George Kirby for Seattle. At least Kirby is the projected starter as of this moment for the Mariners. These 2 teams, these 2 pitchers faced off last week on a Wednesday in the Northwest. The total was 6. Detroit came away with a win, 6-2 over Seattle. Today's total back in the Motor City is at 7. Skubal and the Tigers, a slight home money line favorite as of this moment. A pick'em on your screen, still very, very close. Detroit minus 116 as of the updated odds on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Last week, total of 6 over. Today, minimal total of 7 in Detroit. Will we see the same?
Yeah, why not go under again at this point? Because it's not as if you're going from Seattle, which is one of the true pitchers' ballparks in America here, and saying, all right, we're going to go to Wrigley with the wind blowing out at 25 miles an hour. Detroit's not exactly a great hitter's ballpark by any stretch. And if you take a look at the weather conditions, it's 80 degrees. It'll be really nice, but a slight wind blowing in. So anything that's going to affect the ball going in or out with any crazy scenarios. Like, oh, I hit a fly ball. That was the warning track. It ended up in the 3rd row and a 2-run home run at that point. I'll go under in this because I look for a repeat performance. Both of these lineups don't present themselves all that great against these 2 good pitchers. But as Ben points out, you do want to make sure that pitching matchup is there, because if you go back a couple years and say, let me just lock this game in and a pitcher drops, your bet would actually be canceled out. That's no longer the case. Yeah. Nobody wants to be left handing the bag. Well, hey, I expected a very good pitcher to be on the mound. Now I'm getting a bullpen start out of said team here. So I do think it stays under as long as those 2 starting pitchers get to the opening, or should I say, starting gates here.
A good divisional duel in Minnesota. The Twins take the opener yesterday against the Royals. A huge 6-run second inning, and Pablo Lopez continues to deal for the Twins. It's Minnesota and KC once again. Only a game separates these 2 in the standings. Could it impact the AL Central? The Guardians still have a 3.5-game lead over Minnesota. It might be more impactful for that AL wildcard race. Just a game separates Minnesota in front of Kansas City. The Twins a home favorite today at Target Field. Seth Lugo gets the start for KC. Through the month of June, DRS, Lugo was 11-2, had a 2.17 ERA, both near the top in Major League Baseball, but he's dropped 4 of his last 6 starts. How do you expect him to perform today in Minneapolis against the Twins?
I expect him to be decent, but that Twins lineup is starting to come alive here at the right time. Now, also, if we're trying to handicap and say, what do we anticipate out of the starting pitcher for the Minnesota Twins, one of the better prospects in Major League Baseball coming up now in Zebby Matthews. So if you're looking for electric stuff right out of the gate, have you seen him in Major League Baseball? No, we haven't yet. So it does make it tough. But if we are just going by some of the numbers as a professional team that the Kansas City Royals are, 1 through 9, one of the better strikeout rates in baseball against right-handed pitching over the past month. That will help you. Weighted on base percentages, the first 6 guys above average. So Zebby Matthews, if he has a great start, which they're hoping and they anticipate, that's fantastic. Yeah. But we don't know how these players are going to perform until they get into the big show. It's a hard handicap just to say, well, I'm going to fade the rookie and go with the Kansas City Royals. It's really a no play because I just want to see how this pitcher does because I know they've been looking forward to bringing this guy up into the majors.
Daniel Zebulon Matthews, known as Zebby Matthews. A big jump for him, though. Wasn't in Double-A ball, wasn't in Triple-A, making his way through the minors. He was in high A Cedar Rapids. Now he will make his MLB debut. The 6th-ranked prospect for the Twins in their farm system makes his first major league start tonight at home in Minneapolis. That should be a good one. The Red Sox were on a 4-game skid before a win in extras yesterday, 5-4 against the Rangers. The Red Sox looking up at the Royals, trying to keep pace with Kansas City and hoping Zebby Matthews has a great MLB debut. The Red Sox at home today against the Texas Rangers. -142 is that number. Total at 10. Will we see some runs today at Fenway?
Yeah, you see the 9 after 10, and rightfully so. I don't know if I've actually seen these numbers out of a pitcher that we're going to go over with Cutter Crawford. If you take a look at the analytical numbers, a 108 xFIP minus over the past 60 days, which isn't bad. A 5 ERA, not great. xFIP is a little bit raised. But the numbers we talk about, Ben, and sometimes you say, well, the pitcher only had 3 or 4 batters that he's faced. That's why it's high, because one of those 3 or 4 batters hit a home run. Cutter Crawford over the past 30 days, 88 batters he's faced. I've never seen this before. An ISO power number against 518 combined through 88 batters. Like, if you're just doing the math, it feels like every other hitter either hit a double, triple, or home run against them is what those numbers technically feel for me. Weighted on base percentage, close to 500. If you break it down, left-handed batters, which Corey Seager is a left-handed batter, a 619 ISO against through 46 at-bats. It almost looks like this is an error in computing right now where it can't be that high. It shouldn't be that high. So if you are backing Dinger Tuesday at the FanDuel Sportsbook against a pitcher that seems like he must give up a home run every single time to a left-handed batter, Corey Seager's got to be on your list. Now, it doesn't get much better when you flip it over to the other side with Jose Urania. You take a look at him, 32 batters against lefties, 444 ISO, and a weighted on base percentage of 478. We know they got left-handed batters for days on the Boston Red Sox. So Dinger Tuesday might find itself a home in Boston, but certainly that total should be in peril even at a 10.
The Rangers struggling as well. The reigning World Series champs in grave danger of missing the postseason. They have dropped 12 of 16. Should be some offense tonight in Beantown. DRS will talk tomorrow. Enjoy the money line. More of the early line continues next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship.
The golf has been mesmerizing.
They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.
The 2024 college football season is one where we will see sweeping changes around the country in the format and the climate of the sport. So one of my main questions entering this year is 2024 the start of a new sample size, the beginning of trends that we will look back on in 3, 5, 7, 10 years down the line? Or will it continue what we have seen in large part in terms of deciding conference and national champions in the last 20 years? I think a lot of that can focus on the preseason AP top 25. Because there are long-standing trends looking at the AP poll, what it indicates for a new college football season, who will actually be in the hunt for a national championship that predates the 10-year history of the 4-team format of the college football playoff back to the BCS era. But the BCS era was 2 teams meeting in a national championship game. The college football playoff saw it expand slightly, but just 4 programs around the country. Now that there will be 12 spots in the college football playoff, opening the door, it would seem, to many more contenders for a national championship, will any of the trends that we have known for the better part of the last 2 decades still stand the test of time? For instance, Georgia is ranked number 1 in the country for a 2nd consecutive season. But as UGA saw last year, in its chase for a 3rd consecutive national championship, trying to become the first 3-peat national title winner since the Minnesota Golden Gophers back in the mid-1930s, the curse almost of being ranked number 1 in the preseason AP poll is too much a burden to bear. Only 2 teams that have been ranked number 1 in the preseason AP top 25 since the year 2004. That's the last 20 college football seasons have gone on to end the year number 1 as a national champ. 2004 USC, 2017 Alabama. But will that still be the case this year, where Georgia is not only ranked number 1 in the preseason national championship favorites, and the favorites, of course, to win the SEC, but also a minus 600 favorite to reach the college football playoff? Georgia should be there. Georgia should have a spot in the CFP. Will it be enough to buck the long-standing trend of the number 1 preseason team not winning a national championship? Or how about this trend that also dates back 20 years? 18 of the last 20 national champs in college football have ranked inside the preseason top 7 in the AP preseason poll. Georgia fits that billing. They're number 1 in the country. But how about Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Notre Dame? Because 18 of the last 20 national title winners have ranked in the top 7 in the preseason AP top 25. Only Cam Newton and the Auburn Tigers in 2010 ranked number 22 in the country before the year got started. And Jameis Winston and Florida State in 2013 ranked 11th nationally before the year got underway. Those are the only 2 teams that ranked outside of the top 7 in the preseason AP poll that ended winning a national championship. But that even predates the 4-year history of the college football playoff. Might we see that change this year with more spots up for grab in the expanded 12-team format? That is really the question. We have all of these trends. We have all of these data points. But will we throw those in the trash and out the window this year in college football and use the 2024 college football season as our first bit of data to project moving forward? Maybe so. And I think in terms of the teams that can earn a spot to the college football playoff, it's something that I brought up on this show just a few weeks ago as media days began around the country. Let's look at the national championship odds once again. And in the top 10, you will see 8 schools from either the Big Ten or the SEC, and only 2 teams outside of that. Notre Dame, the independent, and Florida State, the ACC favorites. FSU tied for the 10th best number to win a national title at 30-1, alongside the reigning national championship winners. That would be the Michigan Wolverines. The only change in the 10 best national championship odds in the 10 highest spots in the AP top 25 in the preseason is the fact that LSU is inside the top 10 of the national title and ranked 13th in the country. Whichever way you slice it, there's 8 teams out of the Big Ten and the SEC in the top 10 and only 2 outliers. Are we going to see a college football playoff dominated by the Big 2 and the Power 4? I would say so. That does it for us today on the Early Line. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Time, here on SportsGrid.